Okay, so 10 years ago, I moved to the United States with nothing but a beat up Windows laptop and a dream to build softwares for a living. I had no money in my name, no connections, and definitely no plan, but somehow it worked. So when I first moved to the United States, I had a college degree, but nothing fancy in computer science. Not the kind that get tech recruiters excited to speak to you on the phone. And I didn't know anyone. All I had was my slow Windows laptop, which I still own up until today, and a very deep desire to build softwares. So I'm originally Nigerian. The only people I knew around me were fellow Nigerians that I met at church. Amazing folks, but most of them are into medical field, which is mostly primarily nursing. The ones who were super smart went into being doctors, but most of them were not nurses. That was the baseline of what the Nigerian community expected you to reach. So because everyone around you wanted to be a nurse or is going to school to be a nurse, my two siblings followed suit. My brother went into nursing school, so does my sister. Yeah, but for me, I didn't want that path. I wanted to do something else. So I told my family I wanted to become a software engineer, and they scorned at it. They thought it was a very terrible idea. At some point, they were so worried that they staged a family intervention. They literally sat me down and tried to, talk some sense into me. So basically that day, they gave me an ultimatum, which is go into nursing school like your siblings have done, or get kicked out of the house. Meaning you have about a year and a half or about 15 months to figure out what you want to do. And if this computer science stuff doesn't work, which they were guaranteed it was not going to work out, that I should go into nursing school. If not, I'm going to get kicked out of the house. And knowing my African family, they were serious about that. So that level of pressure either breaks or makes someone, but I chose the latter. So for the next 1 year after that conversation I had with my family, I had nothing but grit and hope. And with so much pressure, my back was against the wall and I basically locked in and did everything I possibly can of becoming a software engineer. So I didn't have money, so I couldn't go into boot camps. All I had was YouTube and a strong will to learn a computer programming language. At this point, I chose Java. So I started to watch Java tutorials on YouTube and went along with every exercises, which I eventually went into building a mobile Android app called CoinFlip. I don't know if it still exists today. So basically what this dumb app did was just flip a coin. So what it did in the back end is randomly pick heads or tail. It was ridiculous, but I wanted to try something. So me building that was a sign that even though how much small and detailed and very irrelevant this was, that gave me hope that I can actually build something much bigger that I could take to an employer and get a job. So at that time I was working a warehouse job. And after my warehouse shift, I came home and I made sure I studied and brushed up on my Java programming skills. Another thing I realized was I was just by myself at home learning how to program, so I needed people to talk. So I created an account on Meetups and joined and attended practically every single developer meetups in my city at the time. So that gave me an opportunity to meet software engineers, both senior, mid-level, and entry-level software engineers, and ask them basically a lot of questions and get mentorship from a lot of strangers, basically. Not only to learn, but also to network and get feedback as to what I'm doing, if I'm in the right path. Because all I had was the guy teaching me how to program on YouTube, but I wanted to talk to a physical person to make sure I was on the right path. And it worked, and I got a lot of network events from that. I got a lot of mentorship from a few guys, thank God. So long story short, with no American degree, a little bit of a foreign accent, and zero professional experience, I was able to land my first entry-level software engineering job against all odds. Nobody who was close to me at the time thought it was remotely possible. And I personally believe it was due to the outside pressure that I was getting from my family that made me eventually achieve a first entry-level software engineering job. So fast forward 7 years later, I've worked in multiple companies, worked on different projects, and life is good, but something was missing. I've honestly lost that drive and ambition that I had when I first moved to this country because I just basically became a 9 to 5, go with the routine like everybody else. Whenever I came up with an idea for a new app or a new software I wanted to build, I just push it over to the next year or to the next month, or tomorrow, for instance. This idea of starting a YouTube channel has been on my mind for the past 2 years, and I just push it over to the next few months. And that balloons into 1 full 2 years of not doing absolutely anything. So fast forward to earlier this year, I was reading a book called 33 Strategies of War by Robert Greene. I love Robert Greene. If you've ever read any of this book, he's a great author. Go check him out. So when I got to the chapter 4 of this book, it hit me like a punch in the gut. So I'm gonna read the opening paragraph of this chapter so you can see what I'm talking about. You are your own worst enemy. You waste precious time dreaming of the future instead of engaging in the present. Since nothing seems urgent to you, you're only half involved in what you do. The only way to change this is through action and outside pressure. Put yourself in a situation where too much is at stake. to waste time and resources. If you cannot afford to lose, you won't. Cut ties with the past, enter the unknown territory where you must depend on your wits and energy to see you through. Place yourself on death ground, where your back is against the wall and you have to fight like hell to get out alive. So reading this paragraph felt like a snap back to life and reminded me of that moment when my family gave me that ultimatum to go into nursing or get kicked out if my computer science career doesn't work out. It made me realize how most of our times are wasted on nonsense, non-trivial, non-important things that we spend every day doing. And I'm here to tell you, unfortunately, you don't have that much time as you think you do. So this reminds me of a quote by Seneca which goes, "It's not that we have a short space of time, but that we waste so much of it." Today, we have the most powerful device that have ever been invented by man, in my opinion. I'm talking about the phone we have in our hands every day. But instead of building and learning and educating ourselves to better ourselves, we doom scroll on Instagram and TikTok. I'm not speaking to anyone. I'm talking to myself as I'm speaking to you. I'm very, very guilty of this. So this year I made a decision and a commitment to myself. No more doom scrolling, no more half-assing anything. I'm gonna go into everything I decide to go into with full intentionality and intensity. Life is so short and fleeting that we don't have that much time to waste on nonsense. If you can pick one thing, no matter what it is, whatever it is, being better in your career or being a better surfer or whatever thing you want to achieve in life, if you can pick one thing and just one thing and channel all of your negative emotions and your negative energy into it, I can guarantee you that something significantly good can come out of it. You should embrace what Leonardo da Vinci calls ostinato rigore, which is rigorous persistent. Don't butcher my Italian here, guys, but what it simply means is rigorous persistent. What makes him better than most artists of his time is because of how persistent and forceful he was and intentional he was with everything he did. If we can harness about 10% of that, we're going to be 10 times better than most people around us. But none of us do it, including me. But I'm obviously talking about to change and encourage you to do the same, but none of us do it. Just imagine how much potential we can have and opportunities we can unlock for ourselves by just locking in and chasing anything we want to do in life with rigorous persistence, like Leonardo da Vinci says. In a world where AI is transforming industries at an alarming rate, you do not have that luxury to wait around and do absolutely nothing. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Maybe you lost a job, maybe you're unsure of your career and the future. Use that emotion, use that pressure. Stand on your death ground like the book said, and fight like it's your only option, because it might actually be. Because unfortunately, no one is coming to save you. The government is not going to save you. Your family and friends are not going to save you. You have nothing but yourself to get yourself out of your mediocre life. Again, I'm not talking directly to anybody. I'm also talking to myself while I'm saying this stuff. So don't come for me in the comments. So I'll leave you guys with this quote by Lauren Bacall. "Standing still is the fastest way of moving backwards in a rapidly changing world. So don't stand still. Don't waste time. Do something, anything. And do that with a sense of urgency and intensity." So if this video hits home for you, like it, share it with your friends, and drop a comment in the comment section about your own death ground and what you did to come out of that. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Take care.